Welcome to Swinger University, your horizontal enrichment program. Bringing you sexy lessons for sexy fun. Here are your hosts, Ed and Phoebe.
Hi, this is Ed.
And this is Phoebe.
Today we're talking about your perception of a couple or event. Does your fantasy match reality? Typically how you think it's going to go doesn't. Sometimes it's even better.
So you got all dressed up and met the other couple or went to an event and didn't have that level 10 experience. Well, you can count on that. But what you can count on is having a good time with your partner, experiencing some sexy conversation and seeing all kinds of sexy stuff. Generally, you will experience a blanket of sexiness or that sexy vibe, especially at events. We're going to break it down into different types of sexual experiences.
Ooh.
You're going to have your orgasms, your orgies, and types of people and situations.
I like the first two already.
Right. Orgasms. I will also say you won't always have an orgasm. Right?
No, that's true.
Yeah.
And it's interesting because that's actually come up with some of our recent play partners who were like convinced that was the whole point of swinging. It was like, we're going to have like crazy orgasms like all the time, right? Like that's the purpose, right?
Yeah. Even after our play session, she's like, oh, but I didn't have an orgasm. I'm like, duh.
Yeah, it usually doesn't happen.
Usually does. She's like, oh my God, I thought that was the whole point. So in fact, we don't, as we said, typically see this in playrooms or small hotel orgies. And there's nothing wrong with that, as there's just so many sexy and pleasurable acts going on that we're going to break it down, like why this happens.
Right. Why no orgasm?
Yeah.
Right? Because you'd think that swinging was like the place to go to just have random orgasms with random people.
Right?
But
I know.
There's a lot of really good reasons why that's not actually going to happen.
Right.
Mostly not.
Right.
Not that it can't.
So everyone right now is like, well, then what's the whole point?
I know.
Like,
I just heard everybody just turn off their iPods and their iPhones, and they're like, oh, screw this. I'm out of here.
We're out.
What the?
In fact, a side note, when the oh my gosh, many people, it's not been hundreds, but many people that we've talked to that have gone to the resorts, the all-inclusive resorts, land resorts, not like the floating resort that we're going to. They say that a lot of times they don't even play with other people. They just go to have fun and be naked and do sexy things and flirt and yeah. And I'm like, wait. You just spent $68,000 for a week
to flirt with people.
To be naked and flirt. Wait, I could do that at my local nudist resort for $60 a day.
Yeah, or a bar with a $10 cover charge.
Oh yeah, the bars around here.
Oh hell yeah, you could go flirt with all kinds of people.
Hell yeah, bump and grind on people.
Vanilla
people
hunting.
In the bar. I know.
Just whatever. All right.
Okay, well, that was a side note. Okay, back to orgasms. Some of the reasons why, if you're curious. Go for it, Ed.
Well, the first time you have sex with somebody, it's essentially a one-night stand. I don't know how many people who are listening have actually had one-night stands before, but it's kind of random. Mm-hmm. The person you're with is not going to necessarily be very good. Mm-hmm. They don't know where your buttons are. They
They're too rough. They don't listen.
The pace is wrong. The timing is wrong. It's just wrong. Like, in so many different ways, it's just wrong. Like, it's fun. Rando.
It's fun.
It's fun.
It is. It's fun and exciting. You're like, ooh, I get to touch this new hot guy. He feels so good. I get to rub my body all over him.
And he was a, one pump chump. Or he did the hammer time.
Right.
Wang, wang, wang. What are you doing? I'm done. It's like a race to the finish. No. So the orgasm is rarely good the first time. Why?
Right.
Well, like what we've been saying.
Yeah.
Zig, you zag, you don't get the rhythm down. And really, orgasm sex, it's all about having a dance partner, somebody who's not going to step on your toes, but like get into a rhythm with you. Someone's going to lead and someone's going to follow. And there's a progression. You kind of build up to it. But getting that the first time, remember, this is the first time you're probably having sex with this person, probably not going to happen.
And there's a lot of sensuality and foreplay and build up that's different from a one night stand. And this is why we like kissing in the lifestyle, because it adds to that experience. It is like foreplay and a build up, so it adds a different level of experience when you get down to the sex part.
Well, and a massive difference between a one-night stand, it's a blind date. You've never met this person. You think they're hot. You get them into their bedroom, and it's not hot. When you're at a swinging event, you have your spouse or your partner with you. You've got a backup plan, and you're in it together, so the flirting aspect, everything kind of gets amped up a little bit. So you don't have that like nervous stuff going on that you would with like a one-night stand or a first date, because you have a partner who's with you going through the experience. So it is different.
Right.
You've got a lot more opportunity for build-up and flirting and sexual tension because your spouse or your partner sitting right next to you going through it with you, which is pretty freaking hot.
Right. Orgies is the next one.
Gotta love an orgy. We love orgies.
We do. And our first orgy, it was not, no, I don't know if anyone had an orgasm there on the bed. It was a hotel room. It had probably, 20, 30 people standing around. There was a bed of about 6 to 10 people on it, a bunch of women. I happened to be on my period, so I didn't take my bottoms off at all. But found myself on the bed, and some lady was stroking my hair, and someone was caressing my nipples, and someone was stroking my legs while someone was fucking in a chair off the side. People are standing in the room and watch. It was this just sea of sexy, warm bodies floating over. Right. It's the puppy pile.
And it was a soft swap orgy.
Yes.
But and some people, if you disagree with that actually qualifying as an orgy, fine, email us, complain all you want about it. We'd love to hear your complaints about that. But it was fantastic to just have so many bodies experiencing sexual pleasure, even though it was only oral and touching and whatnot. It was our first experience, so obviously it was super hot for us.
Yes.
But it was hot. I mean,
was hot.
Like if we went back today and had that same experience, that same night, we were to like go back in time and like relive that experience, knowing what we know now.
Yeah.
It'd still be fucking hot. As a matter of fact, I'd love to go back to that night because it was fucking hot. And I want to know who Marianne was because we never got to experience her again.
Oh yeah, I know. We never saw them again.
Oh,
It's
so
a fake name,
disappointing.
but yeah, we didn't get their names. So we had to assign a name.
And you picture Marianne from Gilligan's Island, right? Like
Right.
super wholesome brunette, super cute. So many things about that night were amazing.
And, people tend to get off on the mood in the room. And if you venture into a playroom, you typically can watch for all that visual excitement and the sounds and the smell of sex. So
not everybody's into that, though. It's interesting how many people we've run across who don't like to be, quote, seen in public having sex. Right. But it's more like the exhibitionist side. Some people just don't have that. They like to be private, close the door. As a matter of fact, the last party we were at this last weekend, there were two couples, and they were both like, well, let's go into this room and we'll close the door. And we're like, what? Can't we do it on the dining room table so like everybody can watch? Because that's hot for us.
Right.
We
so
like
watching. If you get a couple that their preference is to be in private and you are in a larger playroom, they're not going to feel comfortable, orgasming in front of others. They'll be a little more restricted in that. And
the chance for orgy goes way down if they like to play in private, because you'd have to have enough people. I guess the question is, what's private? What's the threshold for private? Because if there's 4 or 6 couples in a room, is that still private because 8 couples aren't watching? In other words, like what's the private line? Right.
Types of people. A lot of times we were surprised by how much fun we have with different types of people that we didn't even think to play with.
Right.
And you interact with those individuals and they become sexy. We've talked about this many, many times. Their conversation is sexy. Their personality becomes sexy. The way they carry themselves, whatever they say, the way they flirt with you becomes, their confidence is sexy.
Yeah. Or just the simple fact that they're a couple on a bed at the same time as you, orgasming or having a good time.
Right next to you. That's fucking hot.
Fucking hot.
I know. I stole your line.
Yeah.
I know. It's because it's fucking hot.
It is fucking hot. And we've been in many a playroom and had just a random couple either on the next bed or on the same bed as us. We're like, hey, there's room here. Do you mind if we share? No, go.
Right.
Kaba squat, and they sit down, and next thing you know, titties are flying. Dicks are out. Everybody's having a good time. It's just hot having people have sex, right?
And the differences are fun. Body hair, size, stature, muscles, all the contrasts. It's all a big sensual buffet. We engaged in a play session in an after party orgy. There was an Indian guy I got to play with, and it was fabulous.
He was super like long hair,
I know,
curly
his
hair.
hair
He was very like
awesome.
Hippie guru kind of a vibe to him. He was super cool.
Yeah. And he came in the room. We didn't get a chance to meet him earlier. He came in the room. I got a chance to talk with him, kiss him. Oh yeah, it was freaking hot. It was so much fun. I was like, oh my God, I just had sex with somebody different. That's really, really fun.
Yeah. Never experienced that before.
Nope, I never got to experience that. It was really awesome. And then New Year's, we were being pursued heavily by this very young couple, and I was like, ooh, they're pretty young. And I was like, do I need to This couple was pursuing us heavily, and we were a little on the fence because they were so young, kind of outside of our age window, so to speak. And because she was so persistent, like she'd be like, room number 1, 2, 3, 4, right? You got it, right? Say it out loud. What's our room number? 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, great. Should I write it on your arm? She
really wanted it. Yeah.
So we went, and
And we were expecting, I don't know what, but we were expecting something not good.
I was expecting them to be new, inexperienced, right? We hadn't had that real conversation, but
Right.
It didn't really matter because she was all over me, and the girls started off the party, and we had a lot of fun, and we ended up, of course, tried to contact them later, and they were just, I don't know, they split up or who knows what.
We got ghosted.
Yeah, we got ghosted.
They checked their box. They got to do the MILF
Older couple.
and the DILF,
Yeah.
and we checked their box for them, and off they went.
Yeah. So you're hearing a theme here where there's types of people that you wouldn't maybe have considered playing with, but you're in the right situation and you do,
Right.
because of whatever physical attributes that you think you may or may not like, or ages that you may or may not, entertain. And then
It's that I have a type definition.
Right.
And I gave up types a long time ago.
Yes.
Like, I just don't have types anymore. I have a range.
yes.
It's very wide, but it is a range.
Yeah.
But even then, sometimes, things bump outside that range.
Sure.
Because at the moment,
At the moment, at the time,
it's
at the
fucking
place.
hot.
Yeah.
So what are you going to do?
Exactly.
I'm going to drop my pants.
And here's the last example of a type that you would never expect. Oh my gosh. So we were on a Bliss cruise 2-3 years ago. 2 singles came onto the ship. They shared a room. And one of the singles was a gay man. Sharing
Right.
the room with his other friend who's a girl. So we meet them. They want to go to the playroom. Well, I didn't know he was gay. They didn't
disclose that. Right.
They didn't. I mean, they did say they were 2 singles playing together, and I was like, okay. So he and I have sex, and then he goes, oh, then we kept in touch, and in a text, oh, she disclosed to me later that evening that he was really nervous about having sex with me because he's gay and he hasn't had sex with a woman in a while. And I was like, what?
Dun, dun, dun.
Of course, after I've had sex with him, and I was like, well, the sex was really good. And she's like, oh, it was? I go, yeah, it was really
It
good.
was
She's
really
like,
good.
oh, okay, I'll have to tell him. He was really nervous and feeling self-conscious. And I was like, what?
Yeah,
oh my gosh.
They were a fun couple.
They
had
were
a
so
good
fun.
time with them.
To this day, we still stay in touch. And he's like, oh, I might just have to have some non-gay sex again because that was the best non-gay sex ever.
Which is
So funny.
I don't even know how to process that other than I know I enjoy having sex with you, so I'm biased, but like what is that even?
I know.
It's apparently it's a thing.
I guess that's the thing. I don't know. It was so fun. So again, types of people, types of situations, and then moving into types of situations
Right.
where maybe, well, let's just say I'm a slow warmer to oral sex.
Yes.
Yes, there's a very specific technique, a very specific process, etc.
You have to be mentally prepared for it.
Yeah, you need to be the Yoda. I'm very, very sensitive, and if you attack it, she screams. Ah! So we go to a bar with a bunch of swingers. We all have a good time. We go back to somebody's house. Their house, I think it was their house. People are in the kitchen. People are in the living room. Shit's going down. The owners of the house, the couple, 2 backpacker couple, I think she was a redhead, whom we've never hooked up with again. Why? Because they're out of the lifestyle. So
Which
crazy.
Is very
anyway,
disappointing on so many levels, but yes.
That was the best oral ever. On the couch, in the living room, in front of everybody, which is not my normal MO. I'm not like that much of an exhibitionist. But something that he did, which I have later explained to Ed, and now Ed has worked in his repertoire of oral, which I love.
I take good notes.
Yes. Oh my gosh. You guys, I was literally taking notes. I was like, okay, he's licking me this way. He's like, I think it's a flat tongue. Oh yeah. Okay. Yeah. Wait. Oh, focus on the technique. No, focus on the pleasure. Wait, focus on the technique. Oh my God. Trying to take notes for Ed, trying to focus on my own pleasure.
Phoebe was having 69 in her own mind.
Yes, I was. It was a torture. But I learned some of the techniques and I brought them back home.
Yeah, and you have instructed many who have followed in said technique just for your very specific pussy. Which brings you back to the first point that we made about orgasms, and it's like everybody's a little different, and that specific technique worked for you, but it may not work for other people.
Right.
So,
and he was probably 1 in 100. You know, I mean, something about it just worked.
What's this one?
Sitting on the couch with 2 women touching me at breakfast. This must have been early on.
Do tell.
I know. You know what? I don't remember, but I had it in here.
I want to be sitting on a couch with 2 women.
This may have been in Reno. But who expects to be touched by 2 people in a public place at breakfast? Yeah.
I expect it all the time. It doesn't happen very often, if ever, but I hope that it does all the time.
Mm-hmm. I'm sorry I don't have the best example for that for you guys, but it is a type of situation, once again, that you don't expect you're gonna be in. So you're gonna have expectations to get something, and then you're gonna be in situations where you're gonna get something that you didn't expect, and vice versa, is what I'm basically trying to say.
The surprise experience.
Yeah.
And we've had a number of those kind of surprise experiences where we didn't expect anything to happen.
Right.
But the situation was just right. The situation, the people, the mood, the conversation kind of led to something being really hot at the time. Right.
And I think, once again, coming back to the orgasms at the very beginning that we were talking about, it's okay to have expectations, but just know that, you're not always going to have that orgasmic experience in every situation or with every person.
Right. Yeah, but fireworks don't always happen.
It really doesn't matter. I mean, the experience is so much more than that. It's pretty great.
Yeah, and you learn to take something from it, even if you don't have that big O at the end.
Yeah.
It's more the experience. I mean, you got to think about this. You're pretty greedy if you expect to get an orgasm when you just had sex with 6 random people on a bed. Take it as a win. You just had sex with 6 random people. That's pretty freaking hot. Like, the orgasm would just be, that's just greedy at that point, right? Let's just,
Is it? I don't know.
It's not. You can hope to have an orgasm. I'm just saying, I enjoy the experience of just having that experience, like being in that environment, having those sexy conversations, flirting, and kind of just getting to do things that most quote normal people, quote, vanilla people, just don't ever get the chance to have. Like,
you're experiencing your sexuality in a completely different way, and
right?
That is really fun.
A boring swinger event, boring swinger night is 10 times more exciting than what half the people do in their straight missionary once a week, 15 minutes because it's required of them sex.
Yeah.
You get to like dance around half naked and flirt with anybody, and your spouse isn't, hitting you because you looked at her butt.
Right.
We got to count this as a win, folks. I'm just saying.
Exactly. It's hard to even think back to that.
I know. We've come so far.
Not that you and I have ever had that.
No.
But that very closed-minded perspective of what should and shouldn't be done in the bedroom, what you should and shouldn't do as a couple.
What you should and shouldn't do in public.
Yeah, all of that.
All
Such
that.
bullshit. All right, everyone. In closing, as you've heard, your experiences will vary in new situations. Feel free to embrace the unknown, experiment with your sexuality, and above all, be safe.
Thank you for coming to class.
The Swinger University needs your help. If you like our podcast, let the world know, or at least tell a fellow swinger or two. Not only will you be helping us, you'll be helping your fellow swing lifestylers. Please rate and review us on Apple, Google, and Amazon podcasts. You can share your favorite episodes on social media. We're at TikTok at Swinger University, Twitter and Instagram at SwingU Podcast. Email us at swingeruniversity@gmail.com and visit our website at swingeruniversity.com, where you can find more information as well as visit our affiliates page to get a free 30-day membership at Cassidy.com. Thank you for listening to Swinger University, your horizontal enrichment podcast.